Two telecom giants suing the Antigua and Barbuda government. And in sport, West Indies ready for the World Cup despite losing some playing time. I'm Ricardo Roberts and this is Caribbean in 10 for Monday, May 27th, 2019. I'll be back with the details after the break. Telecommunication giants Flow and Digicel are suing the Antigua and Barbuda government over the issue of digital spectrum allocation. Prime Minister Gaston Brown says his government wants to force the two foreign firms to share their spectrum space equally with a competitor, the state-owned Antigua Public Utilities Authority, APUA. But he says they are resisting the move. Now, speaking over the weekend, Brown said the telecommunications minister wrote to the companies on the matter, but they are making excuses why the spectrum space cannot be shared fairly. He added that Digicel in particular ended up with the low-frequency spectrum, and as a result, APUA had been placed at a disadvantage, and government cannot allow that inequity to continue. The Prime Minister says the telecoms company, or companies rather, have already filed litigation against the government. He says he does not know how any court can tell his government how they can license their spectrum. The British Virgin Islands government's program to regularize select expatriates has been postponed indefinitely. Premier Andrew Fahey made the announcement in a message on his social media page just days after he suspended the amendments that were to be made to the Immigration and Passport Act in the House of Assembly, which would have been critical to facilitating the regularization. He said the postponement would facilitate the process of listening to the views of citizens and reshaping government's agenda. Under the initiative, expatriates, residents who have been living in the BVI for more than 15 years would have been granted a 2-week period to retain a more permanent immigration status in the territory. But some locals were against it. Recently, a group of concerned citizens launched an online petition, staged a protest, and orchestrated social media blasts in an attempt to dissuade legislators from voting in favor of the amendments. The last 2 of the 8 men who escaped from a prison in Trinidad and Tobago earlier this month were caught over the weekend and are expected to appear in court today. Olatunji Denbo and Michael Findlay, who are jointly accused of a 2016 double murder and had been awaiting trial, were recaptured during a joint operation carried out in South Trinidad. They were found in a house in South Oropouche on Saturday evening. Police said the men had been planning to travel to Venezuela. Denbo, Findlay and 6 other men broke out of the Golden Grove Remand Yard prison in Aruca on May 15th. The other 6 were caught within 24 hours of their escape. Denbo and Findlay had claimed in a video on social media that they were being framed for the murder they were on remand for, and they only wanted their names cleared. But after the recapture, Police Commissioner Gary Griffith said they were playing games.
The individuals, they were trying to string me along, where they were given the impression that they wanted to hand themselves in. And it showed the character of the individuals. They knew exactly what they were doing. I certainly didn't fall for it. I listened to exactly the messages being passed to say that they wanted to hand themselves over. They wanted to meet with the commissioner. They had all of the song and dance of all the concerns. And something I really would like to make mention of, which was something that was I was concerned about, where individuals, they broke the law, they escaped from a prison, and people were sympathetic to it. We can't be sympathetic to a situation where people are breaking the law in this country. We have reached a point now where we're trying to sympathize with wrongdoing. Whether the individuals are guilty or not will be dealt with and decided upon, not by the individuals sending a message that was orchestrated and choreographed by certain individuals with a shirt and tie, but by the criminal justice system.
And stay with us, your Midday Sport is next.
Welcome to this year's 50th Caribbean Broadcast Union Assembly on the island of San Andres. San Andres is a small archipelago located in between Jamaica and Panama in the western Caribbean Sea. A lush, exotic island rich in culture, history, gastronomy, and breathtaking scenic views. Known for its beaches and 7-colored crystalline waters, the island of San Andres will be proudly hosting this year's event. CBU members will enjoy top-of-the-line accommodations for an unforgettable experience in San Andres, connecting Caribbean nations through this year's 50th edition of the CBU Assembly.
West Indies captain Jason Holder isn't too concerned about a lack of playing time for his troops following yesterday's rained-out match against South Africa. Only 12.4 overs were possible before heavy showers brought an end to the day's proceedings, with South Africa at 95 without loss. But Holder said all the players in the 15-man squad had either played in the Indian Premier League or taken part in the recently concluded Tri-Nation series involving Ireland and Bangladesh.
If the runner allows us to play, then we're looking to play some cricket. Yeah, just no idea today. Beyond our control, I just in a situation where we just need to hope that we get some cricket in the next 2 days against New Zealand. No, definitely not. We just came from Ireland playing a series there. We've had a lot of cricket leading up to this. Guys have been playing ideal cricket. And particularly everybody was playing cricket leading up to this tournament. So I think we're all well attuned to the conditions, and we're just looking to play our start of the tournament.
In yesterday's shortened game, Proteas opener Hashim Amla scored an unbeaten half-century and, together with Quentin de Kock, scored at 7.5 runs and over. Now, most of the West Indies bowlers were expensive, and Holder said there needed to be improvements in that area heading into tomorrow's final warm-up match against New Zealand.
Before, we just got to make some slight adjustments in terms of our length. I think generally we're probably a little too short. We offered a bit of width at times as well too, so especially in these conditions where the ball doesn't do as much, I just think you just need to be as accurate as you possibly can in terms of holding the line and length, and then try to create some problems there. And I think if you stack up some dot balls and stack up some pressure overs together, then more often than not you get the wickets you're looking for.
Switching sports now, Mercedes Lewis Hamilton held off a strong challenge from Red Bull's Max Verstappen to win the exciting Monaco Grand Prix yesterday. Now, Lewis survived a late collision with Verstappen to hold off for his 4th win of the season and extend his lead in the Drivers' Championship to 17 points. Now, despite crossing the finish line just behind Hamilton, Verstappen's final position dropped from 2nd to 4th in the result because of a 5-second penalty, promoting Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel to 2nd and Mercedes' Valtteri Bottas to 3rd. This is the 3rd time Hamilton has won the Monaco Grand Prix, and it was the first race of the season in which Mercedes did not claim a 1-2. And that's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Until then, good afternoon.